Hey everybody, welcome back to the ASL. Xun and Saiyan here, bringing you Group B of the round of 24. We've got a hell of a group here today. Got some excellent contenders, and yesterday was crazy, Xun.
Oh yeah.
Lots of upsets. Very quick day of round of 24. We'll see if it turns out the same here today. We do have ZVZ to start us off.
That is true. Although, with Action and Shine in the same game, I would say a Hive ZVZ is probably more likely than usual. Not by a whole lot, mind you. But yeah, maybe like a 0.5 or 0.1% slightly higher chance of getting an insane late game ZVZ when those two are playing. It is possible. And what a crazy state of affairs that Bisu is already out of the ASL. Just goes to show you really can't predict what's going to happen in any given round of 24 group in the ASL. I think the favorites would be Sharp and Action in this group, but honestly, with Shine in there, it could also be just as easily Sharp and Shine going through today.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but just want to mention, guys, Sharp has been on another level recently. He has been absolutely peaking. Maybe not peaking quite as high as Rush. Rush is extremely good, but Shine in the most recent KCM, uh, spoiler alert, he beat Soma and he beat Soulkey in 2 different days. He beat Soma and then he lost to Snow, and then he beat Soulkey and then he lost to Snow. So just a bit of lore there. Sharp is playing like an absolute beast, especially in TVZ.
Yeah, I think he beat Speed to get into the ASL, right? Yeah, he's been playing pretty damn good, that is for sure. We got another guy in the group, Shinee. He's a bit of an unusual character. He's maybe a bit of a dark horse in this group because he's always ranked 1 on the ladder, but we just don't see him show up to these events. I think he only tried qualifying for last season of ASL and this season of ASL. So he's got in on his 2nd try, which is quite impressive. But he doesn't usually even try to show up to the ASL. So it's kind of exciting to have him here today.
Yeah, it's cool to have the number 1 guy on ladder. Ladder doesn't really make that much of a difference. Like number 1 player on ladder, not necessarily the best player in the world, that's for sure. There's a lot of people who are messing around on ladder. A lot of the high tier pros, they use ladders just practice or just to mess around on stream and play some clown games. They're not really taking it too seriously. Pro League is where the real serious players go because there's so much money on the line. But
oh yeah,
Shinee, I mean, it's still impressive to see him dominating the ladder without really having a strong ASL performance.
Right, yeah. I mean, you need to be seriously on top of your game to get number 1 on the ladder because, even when you're at like 24, 2500 MMR, you're still getting smurfed by pro gamers, right? It's not easy to get that high up on the ladder. And yeah, I'm really curious to see how he's going to fare today because even though he's a good player, we've talked about it a lot. There is a real factor of the nerves of being on stage with everyone in the crowd looking at you and the cameras on you and the light shining. It's not necessarily going to be easy for him to play at 100% of his skill level, but maybe he can surprise us. Maybe he shows up strong and causes another upset. I mean, we've already got Shuttle causing an upset in Group A. That means we've lost out on having Bisu here in the ASL, so something dramatic could happen in this group as well.
Yeah, absolutely, it could, Shun. That last group showing just how important preparation is for this round of 24. Getting the perfect build for the right map, for the right person, you can absolutely take down a stronger opponent and eliminate them from the tournament, giving yourself a spot in that round of 16. And Shine is one of those guys who just you can never predict what he's going to do.
Absolutely, man. And just to talk a little bit more about all of these players, so at the top of the group we've got Sharp. He's a very strong Terran. He beat Speed 2-0 in his day 1 main qualifier group to be here today. He's a favorite in this group to get out, but it's going to be a potentially crazy journey to get there. Next up in the group, we've got Shinee. He's that number 1 ranked player on the ladder we were just talking about. He doesn't show up to these events usually, so it's interesting to finally get to see him in the flesh and see how he can perform on stage. He beat Xun and YSC 2-0 in his day one main qualifier group, so let's see if he can keep his nerves in check and still perform at his best. And then we've got Action, who beat Royal 2-0 in his day one main qualifier group and is one of the best late game Hive Zergs on the planet. He has been in a little bit of slump for a while, but I would say he's recently been climbing back to his old power level, so I'll be looking out for him as maybe being the other gamer joining us in the round of 16. However, he's got to go through Shine first, who beat Motive 2-1 and Hammer 2-0 in his day 2 main qualifier group. And Shine is one of those like bag of build, extremely tricky and cheesy Zergs that can catch you off guard. He's been the observer for ASL, basically the cameraman, a lot in the past, and knows all these other pro gamers inside and out. He could also be joining us in the round of 16 since he's extremely suited to this best of one format.
Yeah, it's really, really hard to call, as always, in the round of 24. Anything can happen. There he is, Shinee on screen. Definitely feeling the nerves, ears a little bit red right now. Having to answer some questions for the first time on stage, leading up to what could be a very nerve-wracking first attempt at ASL, first debut.
Yeah, I can't imagine you wouldn't feel nerves. I think you'd have to be a real psychopath not to be feeling the pressure when it's your first time on stage like this. So I'm hoping he can keep his nerves in check to at least give us some good games. I don't even think you need to win a single game in your first debut at ASL. I think you just are looking to perform well. So if he can somehow win a game today, I would think that would be exceptional for him. But I'm looking mainly just to see him perform well in at least one of his games today and showcase some of his ability and why he's at that #1 ranked ladder spot.
Yeah, HM had a really hard time yesterday. He's the other guy who's kind of new here in the ASL, and that is a trend. Most players kind of crash out in their first matches on stage. Action on screen right now. I know you're a big fan of him. What do you think about Action's current form?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's like at 100% power level or anything like that, but I mean, he used to be like somewhere at like almost half his power level during his slump. It was really terrible. But yeah, lately I think we've seen a few of those like glimmers of former self start to shine through him once more. He's not quite back to full fighting strength for damn sure, but I think he's going to play pretty good in this group. I can't see him just getting smashed and going out 0-2 and first. I don't think that's going to happen to him, but it is tough. He's going to be up against Shine. I think whether or not he wins that match will really set the tempo for this group, and you really can't call that game. ZVZ is like one of the hardest matchups to call as long as both players are relatively equal skill.
Yeah, these guys should give us a great ZVZ performance. Very curious to see what Shine will pull out. He used to be all about the cheesy builds, but he has mixed in more and more normal play. He has tried to become more of a macro-centric player with the cheesy builds on the side as like a side dish rather than the main course. But I mean, best of one in the round of 2024, you got to pull out your best builds.
It's true, but yeah, if you want to be a complete player in StarCraft, you need to do both things well, right? Like if you're known as this cheesy guy, they're going to play really defensive and scout you as much as possible and identify what tricksy things you're up to and have a higher chance of countering that. So really you need to be able to represent both styles of play to be a great StarCraft player. And even someone like Sulky, who's an absolute macro god and essentially an Iron Curtain that's just dragging the game out to a late game in most cases to outplay you, even he is going to mix in a lot of cheeses along the way. So yeah, I think that's really cool that Shine is becoming a more well-rounded player. I mean, he's always been able to play a macro game in the past as well. He just shied away from it more often than not.
I think Shinee got pretty lucky with this group. HM found himself in a really deadly position there yesterday, but there's a chance Shinee could make it through these guys are not the absolute strongest in the world. There's like we're not predicting
True.
that Action or Sharp is gonna make it to the finals or anything. But Rush is just such a beast. Bisu is crazy, crazy strong in PVZ. I think that Shinee has a pretty good chance of getting out of this.
No.
I mean, pretty good. I'm saying like 20, 30% chance, whereas HM I felt had like less than a 10% chance of getting out of his group.
Yeah, no, I agree with that sentiment. Yeah, I wouldn't even put HM at 10%, probably closer to 5. Like it was such a tough group for him, and especially with the the jitters of being on stage. I mean, it's not necessarily a 0 chance of progressing, but it's a very low non-zero chance. I think Shinee, you're right, has a slightly better hope than HM did in this group. It is still a pretty strong group with Sharp, Shine, and Action alongside him. But yeah, I think there's way more better players in the round of 24 that he could have got. So you're not the worst case scenario.
I love to see Shine still keeping up with Brood War at this stage. Like such a fun player to watch. I'm really hoping that he makes it through. I made a prediction that we would see Sharp and Shine make it through, not because I think he's better than Action, but because I just love his play, and I'm so interested to see what he's going to pull out every single time he's on stage.
Yeah, and the first map is going to be knockout for both of these first matchups, so pretty standard macro map. It's going to make the ZVZ interesting. Usually the map doesn't play a big impact on how ZVZ progresses, but it is a 4-player map, so there's always a chance that one player gets the Overlord scout in and the other one doesn't or something, especially if there's some reverse scout shenanigans, who knows. And if it's cross map, that can also impact the tempo of the game. Certain build orders are harder to punish with tempo when it's cross map and what have you. So a Hive ZVZ is slightly more likely on knockout than like a 2-player map. So I'm really curious what's going to happen there. Like, is it just going to be a big Ling war where one of the players goes like 9 hatch or 10 hatch and tries to just run over the other guy? Or are we actually going to see both players play quite mid-range, drag out the game into the Mutalisk phase, and potentially go the distance all the way to Hive? It is possible on knockout.
Well, we've been seeing a lot more overpool builds. Overpool into hatchery has been really popular.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mid-range build that if you're good enough, you can hold off the 9 pool speed, 9 pool. You can also make a playable game going up against a 12 hatchery as well. So might be leaning in that direction and get ourselves into more Mutalisk fights and potentially find ourselves in a spore war where one player has spores and we can see some later game tech and stuff like that. Yesterday or previously, we didn't have any ZVZ yesterday, did we, Shun?
No.
Oh my gosh, getting mixed up here. Mixed up with KCM. Excuse me, Pro League. Watching Pro League a lot leading up to this, getting a better idea of where these players are at. But a lot of times you end up getting stuck in that Mutalisk arms race where you're just continuously building up mutas absolutely nonstop, and neither player can really afford to switch into any other tech, because the moment that they do, the other player is going to pull the trigger and run them over with mutas. I think that Shine is one of those guys, and Action too, though, much more comfortable with spore play and getting into other techs.
Right. I mean, apparently there's some ASL stats on the board for Shinee. I'm not sure when that's from. I can't remember what ASL he's been at. I'm not sure if that's just representing his... It can't just be his qualifier stats. Maybe he did make it into an ASL a long time ago and we're just not able to remember that. But apparently he's got a couple of wins on the board. Looking to put a few more on here today as he gears up against Sharp. Going to be a TVT to kick things off, but it's no longer that boring split map slog trench style warfare of the past. It's a lot more dynamic and aggressive of a matchup, so this could be over a lot more than people at home think. All right, guys, so we are ready. We're going to be jumping into it now. The ASL Season 22, Round of 24, Group B, first match, Sharp versus Shinee on Knockout.
All right, guys, we got Shinee down here in the bottom right. We got Sharp over in the top left. I was just taking a look at the stats. No, I don't think we missed anything, Xun.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like he's been in another ASL, but he was in qualifiers in the past.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
In season 21. So he also played in the ASL Open this season as well. Didn't make it through, but maybe that's where some of the stats are coming from. Lock in, boys. TVT could be a big one. Cross map here on Knockout.
Yeah, cross map might make things a bit interesting. I'm curious if either of these guys going to be going for a Vulture War style. I mean, Sharp, despite being really good with Vultures, he's actually one of those guys that doesn't lean into Vulture Wars as much as some of the other Terrans. So I'm not necessarily thinking that's what Sharp's going to be going for here. I think he'll play a little bit more tech heavy and reactive to what Shinee is up to.
And that's a good way to play if you feel like you're stronger than your opponent. There are different ideas from different players of what's best, whether playing reactive or trying to get up in your opponent's face and just have as many interactions with them as possible is better.
Yeah.
It looks like, Sharp gets a much faster gas here. Was that an 11 gas?
Yeah. To be fair, though, Shinee did send out the SCV to build a forward barracks in the center. Right. It's still an 11 racks, but this is basically to try and maybe punish like a bunker expand or a CC first from Sharp. If Sharp was being a bit greedy here, this would be a way of putting on pressure and punishing that. But it does mean that his build order timings are slightly less optimized because you're losing out on that mining time with that SCV initially, right?
Yeah, it'll also be getting to his opponent's base a lot faster, the floating racks, so he can get more information. But this is really typical Shine. Look at that. 224 factory.
Yeah.
Just so crisply timed. Sharp is going to have a very, very fast Vulture. Unfortunately, won't really have the ability to punish, most likely, because it is that cross map. Rallying all the way across the map is going to take some time, and Shinee has his own factory on the way as well.
Well, to be fair, Sharp's going to kill this Marine for free, I think, which is a big deal. Oh, he sees the barracks in the center. He'll definitely be able to punish these Marines, maybe. I think he's going to get at least one, maybe two. Yeah, Shinee's actually bringing both Marines together, but actually Sharp is thinking better of bringing this Vulture out to hunt down the Marines, probably because he doesn't know about the factory timing of Shinee behind this. It's possible that there's a quicker Vulture out on the map, so maybe he won't want to shove it forward too much. He's actually not got his Vulture out yet. I'm a little bit surprised about the timing on the Vulture for Sharp. I'm not sure if he's just delayed making that Vulture.
Did he add on?
No. I think he just was delaying the Vulture so that he could throw down a faster command center. Realized he needs the Vulture and is going to be delaying his command center either way, and didn't have the faster Vulture out to punish the Marines. This is a bit of a weird situation because Shinee actually gets his CC quicker as a result.
Yeah, that's a surprise. And now there's two Marines. And this Vulture's going to get the moving shot.
Uh-oh.
This is a huge problem. Sharp going to lose his first Vulture. Oh, mistake from Shinee. That was a free kill. A free kill, and he lets it slide. Sharp gets a freebie here. Just, handing out. I guess we're just handing out freebies
Free
from
lunch.
Shinee.
Yeah.
Damn, that is unfortunate, man.
I mean, he's technically got a slightly better build now when all the dust is settled with the slightly faster command center and what have you. He didn't get any punish with the initial Marines, but he's going to get a faster scout with this barracks floating inside the main base. Eventually will be denied scouting with the DPS from the Marines, but he's going to get in here and see that there's an add-on and there's not a third factory for a Vulture War. That's going to give him some big intel to work with. Shinee's actually got his own tank out already. So he's going to be playing a bit more mid-range and reactive as well, and has a starport. This is a 1-1-1 build from Shinee, so he could actually be aggressive with this. Theoretically, you can make non-stop tanks and wraiths off of those production facilities and be hyper-aggressive against your opponent. I don't necessarily think that's what he's going to do, but it is an option.
Shinee has a tiny bit of an advantage in the speed of his CC, and of course having that earlier tech with the starport out already. But this game is going to potentially go very long in a situation where both players are teching, getting into tanks already. We're not going to have a vulture war. We're going to have, for sure, the map starting to get split in half. If anyone makes a big mistake, absolutely the other side can capitalize, but assuming that everybody plays, very calmly and carefully, we may end up having a very large battle here in this TVT.
Yeah, fortunately for Sharp, he made a pretty quick armory, so there's not really any hope of the Wraiths causing him any issue. So he manages to shove that unit away, and there's no SCV coming out to repair this barracks because of the map control of the vultures, so that's a bit frustrating for Shinee. Once that barracks burns down, he'll have to remake it to be able to continue adding on production facilities with additional factories. It's not an ideal case scenario here for Shinee.
Yeah, I probably just have to start a brand new one back at home. Sharp has mine coverage all over the place, and Shinee not even able to get rid of the mine under the position for his third CC. We'll be getting up pretty quick comsats, though, to start to deal with those mines in front of his base. And Sharp, he's going to be looking for run-bys wherever he can. He's got so many more vultures prepared. If Shinee makes any errors in how he's moving out and what he's got covered, there could be a potential for some SCV damage, but other than that, we're gonna slow right down here in this TVT.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a variation between these two gamers. So there's more vultures and mines out for Sharp right now, which gives you a lot of map control. Shinee's elected to delay his armory and go straight into an academy, so he will have the advantage of having scans to see what Sharp is up to. But because Sharp had that early armory, there is always that possibility that eventually Sharp is the guy that gets that +2 weapons advantage, which allows you to two-shot tanks rather than requiring 3. That could be a really big deal later on in the game.
Sharp not going to go for any sort of a run-by. These tanks are a little bit out of position to defend the natural, but Sharp instead just going to make sure he's got coverage with these mines everywhere. He's actually on a collision course with this Goliath. No, the Wraiths and the Goliath. He's barely just not going to catch it. And Shinee's going to start to push forward, looking to take his third base now. Sharp getting a bit of a overall advantage in supply, but the thirds should curve out to about the same time. Yeah,
and there is a production advantage, though, for Shinee with the starport and the 4th factory. It's a little bit more than what Sharp has got, and with that starport, he's built a dropship. Sharp is playing a little bit more economically centric, going to take a third base now. Let's see if this dropship's able to circumnavigate being spotted by a mine in transit. It actually is looking like it's flying over a mine. Let's see if Sharp is able to... Yes, he does flick his screen to it immediately. He knows all about it now and can get some units in position to deal with that. Starport on the way now for Sharp. That looks like it's lining up reasonably cleanly for a +2 weapons upgrade as well if he builds the science facility immediately after the fact.
Here comes the drop now. Both vultures drop down into the natural, but the presence of the tank, going to shut that down immediately. Shinee going to look for a mine on this tank, see if he can't get one, but really good target fire from from Sharp.
Yeah.
Completely deletes those mines, deals with the vultures, will push this back. Absolutely perfect hold from him. And this dropship, it remains a threat, but it hasn't really done the damage it was looking for.
That's for sure. Yeah, I like Sharp's position a whole lot more than I do Shinee's presently. Shinee's still going to be getting this third base online, albeit a bit belatedly than Sharp. I think there's more tanks out for Shinee, but he's not really got position with the tanks. Up until this point, Sharp has maintained map control. Shinee's now starting to challenge that, but Sharp being a little bit tricky with these 2 tanks on the southern hemisphere, kind of locking out some zones away from Shinee to just run around the map at his leisure. Dropship at the 9 o'clock. Gonna see if it can sneak in again for round 2. Vulture's also harassing Sharp at the mineral only, trying to distract his attention while this dropship slips into the main. There is a Wraith there intercepting. It's so low, just 2 more volleys to take that out, but the Vultures will unload.
I didn't quite get the moving shot there to finish off that dropship in time, so about 3 or 4 SCVs will end up going down. A little bit of good damage for Shinee, making that dropship worth it finally. But I agree. I do like the position from Sharp a bit better. He's got so much map control, and his tanks are pushed out a little bit farther. He had that third base up a bit quicker, and of course his supplies just kind of outshining Shinee, who's trying here to catch up in upgrades now. We're going to see a pretty strong +2 timing from Sharp, and we'll see if he wants to pull the trigger and actually force some engagements when that comes online.
Yeah, he's got some Vultures here at the 6 o'clock. They're going to have to evacuate. There's just far too many tanks here. But he's relocated these 2 tanks to the high ground, really trying to shut down the lanes of access to the bottom left side of the map, gradually putting a stranglehold on Shinee. And Sharp's taking a 4th base at the 9 o'clock as well. Looks like Shinee's got his own science facility, so he will also be getting that +2 weapons upgrade. But there's a slight timing advantage for Sharp at the moment. He's winning both positionally. He still doesn't have
+1, Shun. Shinee doesn't have +1.
Oh no, he's
a pretty big difference.
It is a massive difference. Oh my god, Sharp is taking a 5th base at 12 o'clock as well. This guy's a madman.
Just expanding all over the place, taking advantage of this map control that he's gained from that early game. Pushing up onto this high ground is pretty important. Shinee needs to get a foothold over here before Sharp locks that area down. It'll be so much harder to push up onto the high ground if Sharp gets there first. So Shinee locks that down. He's taking his own base at the center right. He's keeping up in expansion progression, but he's being locked out of the rest of the map so far. He's going to have to make a move.
Yeah, he is mirroring Sharp, going up to 5 bases himself after identifying that. But like we were saying before, he's behind on the upgrades. He did recently finish that +1 upgrade, but there's going to be a reasonable timing window where Sharp is just trading better than Shinee is capable of. And yeah, I'm liking Sharp's position more and more as we progress. Everything just seems to be so clean for him relative to Shinee. And I'm not sure there's much wiggle room. Like, Shinee eventually is going to have to pick a location to start pushing into. He's got a Valkyrie and some Wraiths to give him a bit of a tactical edge. Maybe he can find some tanks that are unguarded by a Goliath to start chewing away at some of these defensive lines that Sharp has got set up.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I think we're going to see Shinee spread himself a little bit too thin over towards that top right. And then when the +2 comes in line, Sharp may look for a punish. Like, there's not going to be that many units defending the center of the map as Shinee's trying to do this. This push is not working out too well for him either. Oh my gosh, he's really having a hard time taking over this high ground. Those low ground tanks doing a lot of work, and these Goliaths coming forward to just push him back. Failed to take over that high ground and start to climb into the top right. Shinee may devote even more forces over to that area and open up his center even more.
Yeah, we got an additional starport from Sharp as well, keeping the option open to eventually translate the position into more of an air battle by making a lot of Wraiths. Maybe Shinee scanned that, and that's why we see a Valkyrie already out preemptively, just in case there is a big Wraith switch here from Sharp. And Sharp going to be a little bit more greedy and take this CC down in the bottom left. That will be putting him ahead on bases if he can. And there's that +2 upgrade for Sharp. Now would be a great time to start forcing some trades. Shinee's got Cloak on these Wraiths, actually moving down now to the southern hemisphere, looking to exploit this very light defensive position with these 2 tanks on the high ground. If he can break down here and open up the entire bottom of the map, that does give him a lot more tactical options.
Yeah, maybe he can spread out towards the bottom left instead. Just taking over this high ground is going to be a bit easier, and Sharp's devoting a lot to holding top right corner, so it's a good tactical decision from Shinee to spread himself thin in this direction. Try to take over half of the map in the bottom left instead. Dropships are starting to be made en masse from Sharp. Quite a few tanks going down here, and not a lot of reaction from Sharp either. Look at this.
Hang on.
Shinee not even going to put the brakes on to try and take bottom left. He's just going straight towards the center, and taking over this 9 o'clock base is absolutely massive. What a move.
Wow, he actually gets the vultures deep into the mineral line as well. Sharp's having a real hard time responding to this. He has got his tanks in position to deny the siege of the CC temporarily, but having a hard job cleaning up these vultures. SCV's trying to get a surround on them and getting shelled by the tanks from the low ground as well, and even slipping 2 vultures down to the bottom left to deny that base as well. Shinee suddenly doing pretty good in this game. He's found the tactical option after pushing down into the bottom left, where Sharp was had his defenses very poorly allocated. Just a few tanks were down on that south side. Was way more distracted by Shinee trying to push up into the northeastern quadrant of the map, and now suddenly Sharp could find himself in a bit of a tough spot.
What the heck happened, man? The timing when Shinee, or excuse me, when Sharp should have had the tactical advantage, when he should have had the upgrade advantage, Shinee takes a huge lead suddenly. I mean, he shut down this base. He's going to be taking bottom left. He killed so many SCVs. Sharp is scrambling right now to start getting some little trades going, and he will kill off a few tanks here and there with a few nicely placed vultures. It looks like Shinee is starting to dominate, and he's just taking more and more of the map. I'm kind of shocked at that one move, really tearing Sharp apart without really much of a reaction on his part. Yeah,
it looks like Sharp's going to build a small fleet of dropships right as the time that Shinee's building more Valkyries. He's anticipating a Wraith switch from Sharp. I mean, Valkyries can technically slowly kill dropships, but it does take a while, so it's not going to help him out too much, but he does want to deny the possibility of Sharp seizing away air superiority for him. He's got a small squadron of cloaked Wraiths trying to cause a bit of a headache for Sharp, flying around the map. Meanwhile, Sharp taking the top right base, and here's that 4 dropship squad making its way down now to try and overwhelm these tanks that have been laying siege to the 9 o'clock.
Looks like he might finally... Oh, great mind connection from Shinee. That's crazy. He really did so much damage with that singular mine, slowing down this clearance from Sharp and actually making it so much more brutal. Shinee's staying maxed, and Sharp is at 166 supply. What am I even looking at here, Xun?
Yeah, I mean, Shinee's getting the better end of the trades is all it comes down to. A lot of SCVs have gone down, and really great positional awareness from Shinee to hit Sharp where it hurts. At the moment, the game is slowly starting to normalize again. Sharp's being proactive with these dropships, fighting through some thinly defended tank lines of Shinee, but Shinee decides now is the time to strike the center and catch Sharp off guard while he's distracted on cleanup duty. Sharp is allocating defenders all across the map, hasn't got everything consolidated in the center. Now we'll have to draw his attention there just as Shinee slips some vultures to the 12 o'clock. This is great tactics from Shinee. Lots of like 1-2 punch combination setups, a lot of misdirection to keep Sharp's attention where it matters least.
Sharp definitely having the dropship advantage at this point. If these end up getting caught, though, by that army, they're going to get absolutely routed. So he has to be very careful about where he sends these dropships. And big catch here in the middle of the map. Going to kill so many SCVs with that tank. Meanwhile, Shinee pushing up towards the top right, taking more space for himself. A lot of vultures coming in here to try and deny this, though. Can he get any mines on top of it? Not able to get the mines in position in time, and Shinee's going to hold this spot.
Wow, I mean, this is a pretty good game from Shinee. You gotta say, even if he does end up losing it, this is a great performance from him, and he still has such an air superiority to work with. It's going to be harder and harder to utilize these dropships. He's actually scanned the dropships and trying to hunt them down. There's a couple of Goliaths and a turret trying to save the day. Looks like that's just barely enough DPS to make Shinee turn around. The 9 o'clock base of Sharp is pretty exposed as well. If Shinee can find a few vultures to that base, that's going to cause absolute mayhem for Sharp. Presently, he's distracted with his own Air Force. Going to be killing a turret here at the mineral only location and start pew-pewing away at these tanks on the ground. Luckily, there's a Goliath here to keep these Wraiths moving and relocating to new locations, but he is still finding a lot of damage against these tanks. Finally, some Valkyries come out from Sharp to try and deal with this air fleet of Shinee. He's not quite getting the connection he needs, though. Both Valkyries go down, even though the Wraiths are very softened up and close to death. They're still alive.
Damn, I mean, Shinee is just playing such a great game at this point.
Yeah.
He's really taking control. Sharp has had the top right for a little bit longer. He's set up some pretty good defenses in that area. But I really appreciate Shinee's discipline when he saw those dropships to not just dive in and end up losing a lot of these Wraiths in a trade. He just pulls back, looks for more opportunities, and he's made such great use of those Wraiths. Now coming forward with a total overwhelming number of tanks, going to press his advantage, taking over a bit of space here on the center left. Sharp going to have a very hard time preventing that CC from going down now that these tanks can start to range it.
Yeah, there's a single tank in the mineral line shelling the forward tanks here of Shinee, but he's still in range of killing off this gas and putting a little bit of DPS onto that CC slowly but surely. This is such a wild game. What a great debut from Shinee, showcasing his ability. He stayed on just +2 weapons upgrade, whereas Sharp is on 3-1 upgrades. That doesn't really help you a whole lot in Terran versus Terran, having 3-1. It is going to help you in terms of Goliaths fighting against Wraiths and Vultures and Goliaths fighting things on the ground, but it's not going to make a massive difference. The main thing is just having the +2 weapons so that your tanks can two-shot.
Ooh, a drop coming down into the bottom left. A lot of Goliaths in this army. Definitely a necessity when there's so many Wraiths ready to respond to any moves that Sharp tries to make. He's going to be able to rotate here with these drops. He's got to keep this CC alive, though. Okay, he picks up all of his SCVs. I think it's time to abandon this position as well. Going to try to drop some SCVs on top of these tanks. They're so stacked. You might get some great trades here. 2 tanks going down already. That's fantastic. At least he's making some moves as he reapproaches that maxed out supply. In fact, Sharp totally maxed out now. Can he actually push back against this 9 o'clock expansion from Shine?
The CC goes down at 9 o'clock, but luckily for Sharp, he has got those 2 bases set up in the top right. Doesn't hurt him as much as it would have earlier. Equally, Shinee, he's got the base at the 3 o'clock and the base in the bottom left set up, so pretty even on bases. Both players presently still have access to a lot of gas to keep churning out units here, but you've got to really give a lot of props to Shinee for how good he's playing in his debut match in the ASL, and up against Sharp as well. It's not exactly the easiest of game he could have had going into this. At the moment, it does look like Sharp is gradually building up a strong fleet of Valkyries to support his dropships to finally seize away some air superiority. But look at how many tanks from Shinee are moving towards the center here. Looking pretty scary.
Yeah, that is a ton of tanks, but Sharp is maxed as well, and he's starting to get more value out of his units. His experience starting to show through a little bit more as time goes on. Shinee has even bases to Sharp because he's been denied the natural in bottom left. He hasn't moved to retake that here just yet. And actually, Sharp is going to go get a little bit ahead by taking the mineral only in the top right here in a moment. I think that Sharp is starting to make some headway and bring this game back to even.
Yeah, I think actually Sharp is technically one base ahead of Shinee, looking at it now. But I'm not sure it's adding up to a whole lot. I mean, yes, Sharp is slightly higher on resources, but both players are managing to stay maxed. And finally, Shinee getting more additional upgrades. He's got +3 weapons now. Sharp's got 3-2. Again, it's not going to help you out a lot after you've got just the +2 weapons upgrade, but it does help a few other unit interactions, so it's worth eventually getting those upgrades as the game progresses. Here comes Sharp with a fleet of dropships and then Valkyries in support down here to the bottom left, but Shinee is quick to respond, very fluid in his unit control, and just constant scans to identify potential threats from Sharp. And unfortunately, Sharp's not having an easy job of breaking through Shinee here. He is occasionally taking good trades against some of these less protected tanks, but he's still losing a lot in the end. Like, Valkyries are going down, dropships are going down. This is hurting Sharp more than Shinee.
I think we may end up seeing some battle cruisers in a moment. This is going to slow down even more as both players really start to lock down their sides of the map. Wow, so many more wraiths being made by Shinee. There's the starport transition. 4 or 5 starports being thrown down at the same time for Sharp in that top right. He's going to start making battle cruisers soon, but look at this play from Shinee. Going to slip in and kill off that Valkyrie so quickly. The dropship falls immediately after, and now Sharp is a little bit exposed. Once again, losing control of that air.
Yeah, he's got +1 upgrades on these Wraiths, so they're still able to do a reasonable job of chewing through Goliaths and tanks efficiently enough. And he's got the wherewithal to pull away in the nick of time before he actually starts losing many of those Wraiths. It's just so impressive tactical awareness from Shinee. I'm surprised he's keeping his nerves in check so well. And like you said, a lot of comsats coming down on the starports in the top right. Could very well either start making Valkyries initially to deal with the Wraiths and then switch into battle cruisers. That might be a good tactical option for Sharp, because at the moment Shinee is having a bit of a field day with these Wraiths. We have got that physics lab online, so there definitely will be BCs eventually for Sharp, but does he continue his Valkyrie production for now or not?
Wow. I get to correct you for once, Shun. That's fantastic. It's a control tower. Control tower, not a comm set on the starport. Oh, usually you're the one who knows all the different attacks, names, and you're the encyclopedia when it comes to the names for Brood War units and Brood War attacks and all that stuff. But anyway, yes, control towers coming down in the top right. Lots of battle cruisers about to be made. This game is going to get crazy, guys, because half the map has now been established for Shinee, and half the map is here for Sharp as he takes that center left once again.
Yeah, apologies for misspeaking, guys. We do have a science facility for Shinee coming down here in the bottom right, so maybe he's also going to be thinking about some BCs of his own, because he technically doesn't need that science facility. He's already got the +3 weapons upgrade, so I wonder, is he also going to be going BCs here? It does make sense. At the moment, a couple of Valkyries trying to get some big splashes onto the fleet of Wraiths of Shinee. Not quite good enough to take them out yet. Still Shinee being non-stop aggressive with these units. Now hunting down that lone Valkyrie, but instead redirecting his attention to some turrets that are being set up here between the natural expansion and the mineral only here in the top right quadrant. Looks like eventually some Goliaths will get down here to start cleaning those up. Finally, the Wraiths are starting to dwindle in number here for Shinee, but he's got a lot of units on the ground starting to threaten the bridge location here in the top right. Already 2 BCs out for Sharp though.
These BCs really start to change the game. It's so hard to push into tank lines with Goliaths, but once the BCs are there as well, it just becomes a nightmare, and you can start to utilize Yamato as well. I think that's what we're going to see pretty soon. 2 more BCs coming over to this side as well, here in the center left. And like, we may end up seeing a 40-minute game. This might be like the first long 40-minute TVT that we've seen in ASL for an incredibly long time.
Yeah, this is actually a bit of an outlier. We don't usually see TVTs like this anymore, but when both players are playing so well, they certainly can still happen. I'm just so impressed with Shinee that he's really holding on at the moment. And he actually has an air upgrade advantage. He has +2 weapons and 1 armor on his air fleet, whereas Sharp just has 1-1. So he's already enjoying a bit of a healthy lead in that upgrade situation. And now shoving down the center yet again with a mass of tanks. I don't see a lot of response that Sharp has available to him. Shinee's gaining a lot of ground right now. This is a problem because Shinee's also okay with losing some of these tanks so he can refill that supply with BCs of his own. He's just finished his own physics lab, but we do have the BCs of Sharp slow boating over into a location ready to respond to. I think he's got a lot. Yeah, he's got 8 total BCs. They're easily going to start crippling these tanks when they do get into position, but he's going to lose his physics lab.
Oh, targeting the physics lab is pretty slick from Shinee. He could target down the science facility as well. Just slow down the drip of BCs that are coming across the map. Nothing, no response here from Sharp. He actually needs a scan. It's going to be too late. And so all the Goliaths will go down. That means that these tanks are going to fall as well. He may lose control of the center left again, although he will trade out for a lot of tanks. Shinee doesn't really have a lot of open supply with all of these Wraiths, tanks, and Goliaths, so he actually needs to free up a bit of that supply before he can start to transition to BCs himself. Yeah,
he's trying to do that now. He's got Wraiths in support with these Goliaths. I mean, maybe he can kill a BC or 2 in the progress, but there's 10 BCs on screen. He is making mincemeat out of Shinee's ground forces, but like you say, he does need to clear some supply. He's actually building a lot of starports down in the bottom left for Wraith production. Seems like he doesn't think he's got enough tempo to make a big enough fleet of BCs himself. He's instead going to make a ton of Wraiths with Cloak to try and pounce on those BCs and overwhelm them before they're able to respond in kind.
Yeah, this can work, but you need to have the BCs away from the rest of the army. They need to be not sitting over top of turrets, Goliaths, or anything like that. If Sharp has everything together in one big ball, you just can't do anything with these raids. So we'll see if Sharp overextends with this army. If he does, there's an opportunity for Shinee to wipe the field and then start making his own BCs as well.
I think Sharp's got it. He's got more and more Goliaths coming down to support these battle cruisers. I think he's read the game state really well. He knows like the one thing that could cripple him right now is just his BCs getting pounced on by a few control groups worth of Wraiths. And with the Yamato, he's going to start shelling these tank positions and gradually grind Shinee down in that bottom left quadrant. Shinee going on the counter offensive in the center. He's intercepted one of the rallied BCs and is forcing a turnaround of the BCs of Sharp to head more northward to cover this expansion at the 9 o'clock to keep churning out gas and stop Shinee from potentially hitting his production infrastructure back at home.
Oh, he sees all the raids. He knows exactly what Shinee is up to. That really takes a lot of the sting out of this army. If he just rallies Goliaths here to the front, the Goliath plus the battle cruisers should be able to handle even this many raids. And so Sharp just needs to keep his position strong, keep Yamatoing in this bottom left. He eventually will break this position. Shinee just going to go to the other side of the map, though. That's a big problem with battle cruisers. They are very slow. So responding to different attacks in different sides of the map is going to be hard. Yeah,
3-2 upgrades on this fleet of Wraiths for Shinee and 2-2 upgrades on these BCs. Eventually they will get that 3-3, but for the moment Shinee enjoying a little bit of an upgrade advantage, and at the moment is hitting the space in the top right, trying to force Sharp to come to him. It takes a long time for those BCs to slowboat across the entire map. As you can see, they're very slow moving units, basically flying Reavers. There are some Valkyries out for Sharp as well to help mitigate the potential of those raids, but at the moment there's not a lot on the ground to stop these tanks and Goliaths from getting in positions to ravage his mineral lines. This is going to dry up a lot of the economy for Sharp. He's got a pretty big bank of minerals, but he will be hurting for gas.
All of these Wraiths are cloaked right now, sitting back at home. That's a little bit strange. I think he might have accidentally hit the cloak button. but he might need to make a move here soon. Some Valkyries are being made, and they've got +3 with +3 armor. A few Valkyries mixed into this BC army will just annihilate these Wraiths if it comes to it.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I still like Sharp's position, but Shiny's making a very scrappy game out of it, shutting down this gas mining as at the natural and also killing that mineral-only base. He still has 9 o'clock. I kind of would like to see Shiny deny the... Okay, he is hitting the 12 o'clock as well to shut off the gas tap for Sharp even more. As the Wraiths come into this 9 o'clock position, that means that there'll just be that one gas in the top right left for Sharp, as well as a little bit of residual mining in the main and natural, but that's hardly getting you anything either. So that's like 150 gas in the main and natural from those depleted geysers a minute. It's not really a lot when you need to be producing things like BCs and Goliaths. So at the moment, Shiny has really turned the screws on Sharp and cut off a lot of his potential production. Meanwhile, Shiny has been pretty much undeterred in his own mining in the bottom left. So economically speaking, Shiny's looking fantastic, but there is still a lot of meat on the bone for him to chew through with that BC fleet that's remained pretty much undeterred.
I mean, yeah, Shiny's been moving around the map, killing off bases, and Sharp's been responding, but he really hasn't been deleting any bases of Shiny. Shiny's still mining at center right. He's still got all of bottom left, and another denial on the natural of Sharp in top right. So absolutely brutal. Like, Sharp very slow with this BC fleet. It's way better. The army is way better for him, but yeah. Shiny's playing a scrappy game. He just needs to catch these BCs in an awkward position without Valkyrie or Goliath support, and then there's a pretty reasonable chance that he could actually win by wiping the field. Like, if these battle cruisers die, the game is just over.
Yeah, but there is a lot of Goliaths and some Valkyries in support of those BCs. Shiny does have an army out on the map we just saw on screen there, but eventually Sharp will break through this position in the bottom left. Shiny has to respond to this eventually. He's got a lot of Wraiths and some tank Goliath of his own, but at the moment Sharp has a bit of a scary death ball. It doesn't look like you can easily break that. 3 Valkyries along with those BCs at 3/3 upgrades now. Quite a healthy squad of Goliaths and some tanks in support. It's not going to be easy for Shiny to do this. He needs to find the perfect opportunity to pounce on these BCs.
Slowly pushing in. Shiny is ready for this final battle. It looks like he's about to pull the trigger. Sharp is completely bunched up in one massive ball, just defending his tanks. They're the main thing keeping the Goliaths of Shiny at bay. Some of these battle cruisers taking some extra damage. One of the Valkyries goes down. He really needs those. Valkyries are going to be so important for dealing with the Wraiths that are going to be coming up here. Sharp can't really reinforce this position because Shiny's got him completely surrounded. Maybe Sharp can actually go to center right and start to cut off the mining there, but he can't bring anything up here to try and help out this army. He's got a lot of stuff to the north of the army, actually. I'm not sure what's there at the rally point, but he's not really moving it yet. Okay, Shiny moving into position. On this high ground, he's going to make a final move. This is a huge battle. Scans are going to come down. The Wraiths will be pushed back. The Valkyries need to stay in position over the BCs. The BC is going to make a run for it. Diving on top of the Valkyries with the Wraiths. The Wraiths are going to go to town on all of this. He has to scan. There's no support for the BCs. Each BC being targeted one by one. Everything going down. What an incredible engagement from Shiny.
Wow, that went about as good as it can. Look at this man fly. Sharp adjusting in his seat. He doesn't know what just hit him. The game is pretty much over at this point. Shiny running it down on him, trying to close out the game, going to shut down the mining at this 9 o'clock yet again, re-establishing control in that natural expansion in the bottom left, keeping the gas taps on. What an exceptional engagement from Shiny. More than double the supply of Sharp right now, who's basically limping, trying to get that natural back online in the top right. I can't even believe what I'm seeing. This is probably one of the best debuts in the ASL that we've ever seen, Saiyan.
This is an incredible game, taking on Sharp head to head all the way to the 40-minute mark. It looks like Sharp is now 100 supply behind, guys. 100 supply, and this is not an easy strategy to pull off, either going full Wraith versus the battlecruiser transition. He had to be so mobile and make no mistakes with those big clumps of Wraiths, especially against the Valkyries there. But Sharp, he just didn't have the Valkyries firing on the race during the full engagement. He allowed those Valkyries to die before the fight with the battlecruisers even occurred. And now Shinee pushing into center left. He's going to take more than his fair share or half of the map.
He's done it, man. Like, there's just nothing Sharp can do to turn this game around. He's temporarily hanging on, but even some vultures chewing away at his SCVs here in the top right. What an epic TVT. I did not expect a game like this from these two. Sharp put up such a heck of a fight as well. He didn't even play bad. It's just that Shinee had sick tactical awareness and knew exactly what he had to do to overcome that massive fleet of BCs, even with their complete, fully upgraded 3-3 status. This is a wild game. He's just looking to close it out now, shoving it down in the center lane, getting on top of the last remnants of defense of Sharp. He is trying to scramble some hope here, securing the mineral only in the top right, trying to get back online with some production to turn the game around, but it's going to be a heck of a slog to win this game. Shinee, meanwhile, securing that 9 o'clock base for himself. Since he's got the 3 o'clock as well, the longer this game goes on and it all becomes a mined out map situation, Shinee still has the advantage, even if the supplies were even. He's just going to tap out. GG is called. Shinee has done it and is through to the winners match, beating Sharp. Look at the emotions on this guy's face, probably feeling such relief after everything he's been anticipating coming into the ASL and putting on that good of a performance. That's going to give him so much more confidence and self-belief going forward.
Wow, what a match, guys. What a final battle there as well. That mass of BCs. Shinee able to pick that apart piece by piece, and Sharp just not able to keep his cool, not able to keep the Valkyries in the position they needed to be to help him win the fight over the Wraiths. This was just a crazy TVT to start us off. Absolute blast of a match. And I hope that we're going to see action make it through the final so we don't have to cast Shine versus Shinee. That's my one wish here right now.
Yeah, that's gonna be a bit of a tongue twister, saying to say the least, if that does happen. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Probably one of the most epic TVTs we've had in such a long time. I wasn't expecting that at all. Whew, let's all take a bit of a breather, guys. Run to the bathroom, grab some water, grab some fruit, whatever you gotta do. Maybe some popcorn is in order, and join us for that match number 2 coming up next. Action versus Shine. Don't go anywhere.
Absolutely mad TVT to start us off here in Group B. We're back now for our ZVZ Shine versus Action. And I see a bunch of you guys in the chat saying that this is going to be something like a 4-minute ZVZ. I doubt it, but maybe we do need that to balance things out.
It would certainly balance out the duration of this overall cast, but I don't necessarily think that's true. I think this is at the least going to be like a 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10-minute ZVZ, and there's that real tiny sliver of a chance that this goes to super late game Hive ZVZ with Action and Shine being in the same game. We've seen craziness in the past. It's so rare. We're talking like 1 in thousands of a chance. But theoretically, you could even see Ultralisks in a ZVZ fighting Lurkers under Darkstorm. It can happen. It's just so damn rare. You never know what to expect. This is going to be a weird one. I mean, Shine's a very tricky Zerg. He might do some shenanigans here to surprise Action. But honestly, Action is a slightly superior ZVZ player to Shine by a small margin. I think that Shine's Mutalist micro, not necessarily the best out of all the Zergs, so that could hold him back a little bit here in this mirror matchup. Anything's possible, though. As you can see after that game with Shinee and Sharp, like, you really don't know for sure going into a best of one what's going to occur.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just going to be a knockout game, guys. Big 4-player map, kind of hard to do a really aggressive strategy here. So I think there's a chance that we see an 11 hatch from both players, or maybe an overpool into hatchery for one and 11 hatch from the other. We'll see. Hopefully we get a nice match here between these two. I think that both of them are going to be kind of desperate to get to that winner's match, because Sharp waiting in the losers is going to be a hell of a tough opponent.
Yeah, I mean, that is another thing you got to worry about. You're not just losing, you're up against Sharp if you do lose. At the moment, Shinee looking like a very scary contender as well. I wonder if his TVZ is going to hold up as well as his TVT against Sharp did. Talking about these players now, you can see Action pretty successful in this mirror matchup. Very impressive record there. Definitely a little bit better than Shine overall. I think he is technically the favorite, but since it's a best of one, it's a mirror matchup, you can't really know for sure. Just because technically you're a slightly better player than your opponent doesn't mean you're going to be the winner. It's such a knife edge of a matchup. Like, yeah, look at Shine, like not quite at that 50% mark in ZVZ, not having an easier time than Action has in the past. And I don't think his Mutalist micro is that fantastic either, so that's going to hold him back a little bit. But, you know, on the day, anything can happen. Maybe Shine's playing the best game of his life, and Action's not quite feeling as hot as usual. Anything's possible. I'm going to give a slight edge to Action here, but I think this could be a very spicy ZVZ regardless.
Come on, Shine, give us something to watch, man. Give us a great build. We're jumping into it here in just a second.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I don't know how this group is going to go. It was already been blown out of expectations with that first game, but we're getting into it now, guys. Match number 2 in Group B, round of 24. Action versus Shine on Knockout.
All right, Action spawning over here in the top right. And we got Shine in the bottom left. We're waiting for the builds here. I just want to remind you guys that we do have a Patreon page, Xun and I. We don't get paid for casting here on Soup Live. You guys are the ones that are paying our paychecks for this caster salary. So we really appreciate those of you who have signed up already. And if you haven't, you don't have money to support us, don't worry about it. Join for free on Patreon, and you'll see all the different casts that we're involved in, including KCM and others as well. We'll be posting whenever we're doing something together.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone that does support what we love to do. I'm also looking forward to meeting you in Poland, Saiyan. Showing up to that BSL event is going to be a blast. Okay, Mirror builds to kick things off. Both players throwing down the 9 pool. Don't see a whole lot of 9 pool these days in ZVZ. There's a lot of mid-range style. Sam was talking about it earlier. A lot of over pools, and you'll even sometimes see 12 pools, which is pretty good against 9 pool as well. But I'm surprised to see 9 pool on a 4-player map from both of these guys.
9 pool speed from both players. That is a bit of a shock, but this can still turn into a longer game once both players identify, like, oh, you've got speed too, and you've got 9 pool. Well, probably not a good idea to risk your tournament life on, you know, just one single engagement with Lings. You might want to back off and get into some Mutalis and get a natural out if possible.
But we have got that interesting reverse scout from Action. I was talking about it a while ago, right at the start of the cast today, that we might see a reverse scout from one of these guys, and we actually do have that from Action, like sending it towards the main base rather than the natural can obfuscate where you are if your opponent is, say, in the bottom right and they send their overlord to the top right here. Like, that wouldn't notice the overlord of the other player, so wouldn't immediately identify their location. And because it's cross map, this 9 pool could be crazy because both sets of Lings might miss one another, and then we will see an absolute insanity of both players microing on 2 different fronts. At the moment, only 5 Lings of Action moving down to that bottom left location. Meanwhile, all 6 Lings of Shine in the middle of the map. He does turn them around, though. He is coming back, and he's got some Lings on the ramp as well, so it looks like he might be able to shut this out, and maybe the game will normalize. But also Shine could catch all of these Lings of Action from behind, potentially.
Yeah, there's a possibility he surrounds this and kills a ton of Action's Lings. Good turn there from Action to escape at the last second. Looks like his speed was just fractions of a second faster as well. I'm assuming he has speed. Did he cancel speed when he saw that there were Lings out? No, he's got speed. Okay.
He's got speed.
So Shine came through with the speed just a tiny bit later. Allows Action to escape, but Action did lose more Lings, I think, in that engagement, so he'll have to go back to his high ground and defend. Yeah,
that is true. I mean, theoretically, if Shine wanted to, he could just think about eventually plopping down an expansion. He can't do that yet. He has to first make the Spire. It's really important not to skip out on that Spire, but eventually with the Ling advantage, might be able to get away with a sneaky expansion at some point. But Action did remake quite a few Lings himself, so that might not be much of a factor here. Maybe this game is a little bit more even than it seems. There is a slight advantage for Shine, but it might be quite negligible considering the lair timings for both players. It's going to be really hard to squeeze out the 300 minerals necessary for an expansion. You would have to cut into your Muta production and make predominantly Scourge to do that. It's very risky to do something like that, because then if they have good Mutalist micro and start shooting down your Scourge, you can just be dead.
Shine has only been making Lings this whole time, and Action hasn't. He's been making a few drones, so I think we're going to see Shine try to Ling bust him, and Action's identified this with the 1 Ling on the map. Really, really nice scout from Action to find out this critical information. Will allow him to build a sunken colony in his mineral line, and that's going to be really difficult to get on top of with the drone pull and some of these Lings pulling back once the ramp has been breached. I think this bodes pretty well for Action.
It seems so,
His trades are not very good.
He had an amazing arc of Lings on the top of that ramp, one of the best that I've seen in a long time as well. Really good setup there from Action. Not only were they in a line, but they were in a very slight curve to make sure the Lings could get 2-on-1 trades against the attacking Lings of Shine. Pulling his Lings back into the middle line now, tries to go for a drone, doesn't find it just yet. Pretty good setup here from Action, delaying for those Mutalists to pop out, and now they're going to help clean up on aisle 3. Everything goes down. I don't think a single drone for Action fell during all of that. That's a crazy good defense from Action.
Wow, perfection. Chef's kiss for Action's defense there, and especially for that 1 single Ling, absolute hero Ling that went out and got all the scouting information he needed to know that that was coming. He's got a drone advantage now. He should have Mutalist advantage. Shine was searching for an overlord, but unable to find one, so he can't even supply block action with his advantage here in the air, or his map control advantage that he has for the moment.
Right. I mean, this game's not over. Obviously, you have defender's advantage. If Action were to be aggressive right now, there's still a chance for Shine to turn things around. You can see he's just barely matching the muta count of Action if he was in a defensive position. But if he's attacking, he definitely can't overwhelm Action unless he catches Action off guard. If Action is moving across the map right as the mutas fly into the main base and start hitting the drones, that could be a problem for Action, theoretically. At the moment, though, very defensive setup here from Action, looking to take that hatchery in the natural to compound his advantage. He knows that he can't technically kill Shine because of the defender's advantage, but Shine definitely can't kill him when he's being the aggressor, so he can easily get away with this hatchery in the natural, potentially.
Shine making non-stop mutas. Can he afford to get his own natural? If he delays a couple of mutas, maybe makes a few pairs of Scourge, he might be able to slip out some drones and get a natural up for himself, but it doesn't look like he's willing to do that. Just full non-stop muta production. And he's going to try to come over here. Like, as soon as he sees the hatchery, he's going to know that he is in a bunch of trouble, and he will have to engage with this and actually take a win in the air if he wants to win. So Action having the defender's advantage. He's got Scourge. He's got a better drone count. All the chips are on his side of the table right now, and Shine is going to have to make a gambit if he wants to be able to end up winning this game. Looks like he's going to catch some overlords. So at least one, maybe two overlords can go down. That's a free win for Shine. Can he use that to maybe get a hatchery out? Yes, he will try to get the hatchery out. And it's going to be a lot later than Action's, but there's still a chance for Shine to transition this.
Shine actually has +1 attack, and Action doesn't. There's a tiny muta advantage for Shine, but there's more Scourge for Action. 6 Scourge to 2, and additional mutas here. Big engagement. Can he get rid of these Scourge before they find connections? At the moment, Shine, with that upgrade advantage, theoretically can overwhelm Action in this moment, just as he's getting set up with that production advantage in the natural. Goes after another Overlord. Can't quite find the connection. Takes a volley for free and clears out the Scourge of Shine in the process. Just 2 more Scourge in reserve. Did get a volley off for free against the Mutalisk of Shine. Not quite enough to kill a Mutalisk. Coming back in, takes out the drone, eats a volley for free. As a result, though, Shine with a slight muta advantage. If he can avoid the Scourge, he can win the air battle. So far, pretty good Mutalisk control from Shine. Backs away. One Mutalisk close to death, but still enjoying that slight upgrade advantage. Action does not have +1.
Ooh, I mean, he needed to take a little bit of a better fight than that. Going practically dead even is not good enough when Action has the economic advantage, as the larva advantage, and he's got this gas rolling much, much earlier. So I think this is going to start to tilt in Action's favor. He should be finishing up his own +1 soon as well. And there's just not a lot of drones here, man. I mean, we're going to have to see Shine build almost nothing but Scourge while he tries to slip a few drones out in between. Yeah,
they're about even on drones in total. Shine might even have 1 extra drone in the main base minerals currently. I didn't get an exact count on that, but it looked on cursory glance that Shine has 1 more drone on minerals than Action, but Action has 1 more drone on gas than Shine. So a slight discrepancy. I think, is there only 2? Yeah, there's only 2 drones on gas in the natural for Shine. So they have the same drones, but they're allocated differently. Now a drone moving down into the natural to go onto that gas to even things out. Definitely a production and eco advantage for Action, but with that upgrade advantage might help Shine close the distance on that discrepancy. Let's see what's going to happen. He's actually going to catch an Overlord here of Shine's down at the 6 o'clock. That's a nice way to start things off and finally put Shine in a supply block situation.
And you're kind of right. I thought that there was more drones for action, but looking at this main base, yeah, he is really light. Both players super poor right now and only really able to produce Scourge for the most part. And right now actually is a fantastic time to start killing overlords. Just go for the overlords with a pair of Scourge. Minerals are at a premium at the moment because neither player is really mining too many of them. So making overlords is really tough, and neither player is really going to be making mutas. There's a muta advantage for Shine, and the Scourge are just going to fly in. Most of them end up getting gunned down. Action running away. He loses a muta to the Scourge. Dude, this is getting kind of bad for Action. Ling's run by into the main, though. Can he get any drone kills? Because it's almost critical damage if he loses anything at this point.
Yeah, even just disrupting the mining is a big deal at this situation where there's so few minerals turning in. Had to replace that Overlord as well. And he's flying as a natural, takes out a gas drone, does eat a Scourge connection, though, and loses a Mutalisk. Pretty dicey situation. Action cannot afford to lose any more Mutalisks, or he might just lose the air battle completely. Oh, he eats the Scourge and dies. Uh-oh, there's a massive Muta advantage for Shine right now, despite the economic damage being significant. At the moment, Action needs to be super careful and consolidate back at home.
This is crazy. We're playing a game that reminds me of when both players are completely mined out. The whole map is mined out, and everybody has like almost no units left. And they're like fighting with the very last few units that they've produced.
Right.
Because everything is so low economy at the moment. One Overlord goes down. Looks like Action will probably get an Overlord for himself, if not a Muta popping out. But Shine has way more firepower in the air. He's got a big Mutalisk advantage. He's going to try to put it to some good use. Nothing connects from Action again. No connections from the Scourge means that he is getting completely outplayed in the air this game. And Shine is on the cusp of taking this one away.
I've got my hand on my keyboard just in case I need to switch the screen. There's a huge Muta advantage for Shine and some Scourge left remaining. Action at death's door currently, trying to stabilize with some patrol shots backwards. It's not going to be good enough. Shine has done it. He is going to be killing Action here. He taps out. GG is called, and Shine will be going on to face against Shinee. Is going to be a tongue twister of a cast there, and Action drops down to the losers match to face off against Sharp. Wow, what a knife's edge of the game that was.
I shouldn't have said anything, Shun. I shouldn't have said anything. We're going to get that Shine match, Shine versus Shinee. Bear with us, guys. It's going to be a tough one to call. It's going to be a tough one to cast, but it should be a blast. Like, I cannot wait to see what Shine has here, because he's looking to be in very good form, taking out Action from kind of a deficit as well, right? He did fall behind. He had a hard time with the initial couple of engagements, and then managed to just bring it back through pure force of will, through pure Scourge and Mutalisk control. We were talking initially before the game that Action probably has better Mutalisk control.
Right.
Definitely not the case here today. Shine absolutely outplayed him.
Yeah, I think Shine was playing one of the best CVCs of his life, whereas Action was kind of like average compared to what I've seen from him in the past. And I did wonder if that was going to be the case, where one of these guys will be playing an absolute peak at their power level and the other one not quite there. It does seem like that's what occurred. There was a drone advantage for Action after that Ling attempt there from Shine, and was able to get a quicker expansion as a result, but really good tactical sense of awareness from Shine, and had the +1 attack upgrade as well, don't forget, which helped him out in those Muta battles. I don't even know what's going to happen in the remainder of this group. It's so hard to predict now. Going to have that caster's nightmare of dealing with Shinee versus Shine. Going to be in that winners match coming up next, guys. Run to the bathroom, grab some water, grab some fruit, whatever you got to do, and come and join us for that. Don't go anywhere.
Wow, a surprising turn of events as we have Shinee versus Shine in the winners match. Our predictions going pretty far awry so far in the 20 in the round of 24. Action versus Sharp in the losers. Who saw that coming?
Yeah, I didn't. I honestly didn't. And after Group A as well, I think we're just going to have to ignore our previous predictions. Who knows what's going to happen this ASL? We could have people in the round of 8 we just didn't expect could even possibly get there at the current trajectory that we're going to. Oh my god, we are going to be losing either Sharp or Action, like yesterday having to lose either Bisu or Rush. That's crazy to me, man. Like, such great players are already going to be eliminated. Let's get into it though, guys. Going into our winners match now. Shinee versus Shine in the round of 24. Group B, the map Attitude.
All right, spawning over here in the bottom right, we got Shinee, and in the bottom left, Shine. There he is on screen.
He's overjoyed.
Yeah, getting having a very good run so far in the round of 24, but it could start to turn during this match. He's gonna have to be really careful about how he plays this one. By the way, Attitude dead even in Pro League statistics, 50.2% win rate for Terran over Zerg, so barely eking out a positive score on this map.
Yeah, this should be a good one. And it's not even going to be cross map as well. Close spawns for these guys, and the natural expansion for Shinee in path of Shine would help out Mutalisk Caress later on. And actually, Shinee going to be going for a little bit of a cheese. Gonna be throwing out that really quick forward 8-Rex. You're laughing because I went like Shinee. Yeah. Like, I gotta be second guessing myself for these names so much this cast, guys. We could be having a real quick one here though. Could be a very quick bunker rush, but we're not going to be having a successful bunker rush because look at Shine. He's got that early pull.
Yeah. This should shut down Shinee pretty effectively. The 8 racks really shouldn't be able to do too much. And he'll be in recovery position pretty quickly after bringing the Marines forward and finding Shine. Now, he even sends the SCV in the wrong direction. Yeah. Poor start for Shinee. Nothing he can do about it. He'll just have to make as few Marines as possible and get into this Vulture as quickly as he can.
This is going to be a quick factory follow-up from Shinee, so there is potential of a Vulture getting some follow-up damage, even though he can't initially deal with Shine with this early barracks. There's still potential here. You know, if Shine doesn't get a quick creep Connolly down in that natural expansion, the Vultures still could get some work done here for him. And we could even be seeing a Wraith follow-up behind that. We'll have to see.
He's going to spot this gas. The moment he sees it, he'll know what he's up against because there has to be a barracks somewhere out on the map. He'll start producing some extra lings. Losing one right off the bat is not a good start, but he'll definitely have the ling numbers necessary to deal with this. And Shinee just going to lose this stuff immediately. Pretty good micro to try and keep this alive, but he'd probably end up losing the SCV along with this Marine as well.
Yeah, not going so good for Shinee presently, but he will have that Vulture out, like I was saying, to maybe make up the difference after the fact. Definitely has lost this phase of the game with the build order advantage for Shine, getting a lair on the way for his 2-hatch transition after the fact. Let's see, maybe, okay, no. Shine is going to throw down the Creep Conley right away. Usually you make the Creep Conley about 3 minutes 30 against a normal factory timing. But against a slightly earlier factory timing, it does need to be a few seconds ahead of schedule just to kind of account for the earlier factory. And it looks like everything is going to be timed out nicely for Shine, even killing that SEV scout now. And it is going to be that Starport follow-up from Shinee.
It's funny because actually Shine could keep his Overlord over top of all the buildings. Those rare situations where the Terran just has nothing that really shoots up. But he's going to try to run away, maybe hide from this Wraith. Although that's going to be spotted now by the Vulture. I think the Vulture can actually see that. We didn't get a shot of exactly how close it was to the Overlord there on screen, but I think he's aware of the location of that. Should end up going down, and we're going to have to see Shine's response to this. Will he be going for burrow against a single port Wraith, or does he want to just move the drones around, maybe build some buildings and buy time for the Scourge and Midas to pop?
Yeah, you could also throw down a Hydralisk den, get a couple of Hydras out to deal with the Wraith. It's going to be a Vulture run by, though. He's getting the machine shop. He's going to shark around with these Vultures now. See if he can get behind this Minerals even before speed is finished. Actually does get the Vultures behind the Minerals. Can't quite get into the main base with these Vultures. Oh, he's going to lose a Vulture. Big mistake from Shinee. An error in the pathing there. Didn't manually adjust that third Vulture to go around the back of the Minerals, and now doesn't have as much firepower to deny mining for long. Does have the Wraith coming into the main base now, putting on some pressure, but it's going to be much easier for Shine to close this out. Does get the surround on the first Vulture. Ling from behind, shutting down the second, with that third Vulture going down to the Sunken. This threat no longer posing much of a problem for Shine. Is going to be losing an Overlord here, but that's not going to supply block him just yet.
A really nice handling of a pretty difficult situation from Shine. Setting up that one Ling on the top side of the Minerals to block in the Vulture was definitely the move. Shine sending a few Lings across the map now. Wants to get a little bit of information. Sees that it's still Vulture production. And in fact, speed going to be finishing up. Looks like it just finished. His Vultures now speeding around the map, looking for another angle potentially to try and run by. Now that there's no Lings blocking the ramp, that's definitely a possibility. Back at home, we've only got the one Wraith and a few turrets being made. Looks like the Wraith is going to get caught, actually. One drone on the ramp is sick. He's actually going to stop this completely. Missed shot on the drone twice. Twice he misses the shot, and no drones end up going down for Shine.
Absolute insanity. Such a nice defense for Shine so far. We have got that cloak upgrade for Shinee, though. Maybe able to turn the screws on Shine just a little bit here once he gets a few more Wraiths together. There is an Overlord parked out on that triangular high ground next to the mineral only. Has got some nearby detection, but probably going to be a little bit of a time before Overlord speed can be ready. Science facility coming out here from Shinee. Kind of like a crazy Terran style build without an expansion. Definitely a bit unorthodox, but he's doing what he can with the failed proxy 8 racks into factory play. There's not a lot he can get away with right now. It's going to take a long time before he can actually afford to throw down an expansion.
That's a dangerous situation. He's still building Wraiths. That's a little bit awkward. Like, Shinee really wants to play Wraiths into this Mutalisk build, even after losing the original Wraith, and he's not even gone 2-port Wraith either, so Shine is always going to have an advantage in the air. However, no Overlord at the back of this base means he can come in and kill a couple of these workers kind of for free. Vulture run by 2. This is getting a little bit painful. Shine is going to lose a few units here, a few drones for free. And yeah, he's even going to lose this one too. Man, this is actually a really nice move from Shinee. He is going to lose the Wraiths now, though. Oh, gosh. Overlord right here as well. Oh, man. He's boxed himself in. Every Wraith goes down. That was not worth it.
Oh, my gosh. That was not worth it. It started out looking so good. And it went so really wrong. Oh, man. And Shine has a third base, an Evo chamber, and Shinee's only just now finishing up his CC to float into the natural. This is not going good for Shinee. Maybe he can still make a game out of this. Yeah, I guess he kind of... okay, no, he's got a vessel out now.
Okay.
He's going vessels. Okay, he will need irradiates to turn this around for sure, but if Shine's on top of it and splits out the irradiated muter over and over again, he's going to have such a hard, arduous task of getting down into the natural and fully securing it.
Jeez, it was like Shine completely boxed in those raids. I don't know if that was even planned, but
yeah, I don't know.
There was nowhere for Shinee to run, and even though he got a bit of damage going, losing all of those raids is just so brutal. He's gonna have such a hard time holding on back at home now. Well, these lings are all gonna die to a few mines. That's kind of nice. The first round of larva from that third base gets completely deleted, but Shine has so many units here. He can just dive directly in, split out the injured or the irradiated muta, and all of the Marines are going to die. I don't think this one turret will survive or hold off long enough. And we have lurkers coming, guys. There's a bunch of lurkers that are on their way over here. I think there's like a couple of mines maybe out in the front that might be able to slow things down and deny a little bit. Yeah, might actually lose the lurker here. Oof, great damage from that mine. He's barely hanging on though with those mines in the defensive position.
Yeah, he doesn't even need to kill this turret in the natural. He just needs to deny marine circulating down to this natural expansion to go into these bunkers. They are currently empty. Lurkers in position now. This could be a tap out situation for Shinee. Like I was saying, he's gonna have such a hard time securing this natural location. Gets the repair on the turret, but it's not gonna be enough. It's gonna be another 10 seconds until he has an additional irradiate to utilize. And I mean, this just doesn't look good for Shinee no matter which way you slice it. This is looking like a Shine victory more and more.
Ooh, yeah, really nice. Oh, really nice. I was gonna say really nice job from Shine to clear out some of those mines to open up the route forward for those two lurkers to get into position, but some more mines do end up connecting. He saves the command center somehow. Now, it's still looking to me like a complete Shine victory, and wow, even losing the vessel is insane. I think this is over. However, the third base still not mining for Shine. That is something going right for him, and he saves his naturals, so he is going to be able to finish this +1. He's going to have some tanks out pretty soon. The bio count is growing. Oh, man. I'm trying to find a little rays of hope here for Shinee, but he's just losing everything.
Yeah, unfortunately, Shine is just making Shinee glow with his own light that he is projecting and going to be tapping out. GG is called, and Shine gonna be going through to the round of 24, but Shinee's not out of it yet. He's still got one hope left in that final match, but who's he going to be facing off? Is it going to be a rematch against Sharp, or will he be facing off against Action? That's going to be our next matchup.
Beautiful. I love to see Shine going through to the round of 16. Been a big fan of this guy for a long time. Love the bag of build style. Pulling out some really crazy and well formulated builds on some of these new maps is going to be super exciting. Like, I wonder what he has planned for maps like Colorless Fate, and what kind of crazy plays he can pull through with those. Like, we haven't really seen any of that today. Everything's been pretty straight up, but these maps have been very straightforward as well.
Yeah, to be fair, I think that Colorless Fate and Odyssey are going to be vetoed heavily, so we're not going to see a whole lot of them in the majority of these round of 24 groups. We will be seeing them more and more as we progress in the tournament and we start playing those longer series. Once it's like best of 7, like obviously you're going to see those maps, but even in the best of 5s, you're not going to see them very much. They're going to be so heavily vetoed by the players, I imagine.
Yeah, that's definitely true. You can't veto both of them, though, right? You can't veto all of the crazy maps. So as long as Shine doesn't veto one of the crazy maps, he should be able to get one through. And if he's got a great, well-prepared strategy for one of those maps, like we saw from Shuttle yesterday, you can absolutely get one over a stronger player and end up placing even higher than maybe you should.
Yeah, but big props to Shine getting out of the group first today. Definitely didn't go how we expected it. I definitely had him as a potential for getting out of this group, but have to say Sharp and Action were definitely the overall favorites, even if by a slim margin for Action. And yeah, with Shinee also being in the winners match, that was a major upset, being able to take out Sharp in such spectacular fashion. And who knows? I mean, Shinee could also still be getting through to the round of 24. It's not over for him yet. I don't know how Sharp and Action is going to go. I would definitely give a bit of an edge to Sharp. I think he's slightly better form than Action is right now, even if Action is so good with his Defiler control in late game ZVT. I feel like Sharp is going to give him a real run for his money.
Oh, Sharp is so good right now. Yeah, his multitasking is insane in mid game. If he manages to make it to that mid game transitionary point where the defilers aren't quite out yet, even once they are out, I mean, his late game is crazy too. He's able to just put so much pressure on to the Zerg. I feel like Action may crack, but we'll have to see. That should be a really fun match to cast, Xun. I'm looking forward to it. Action versus Sharp will be insane, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it already. I definitely agree with you with that sentiment. And even if Sharp isn't in a great spot, we have seen situations where he can claw his way back into a game that doesn't look like he should be winning, and he still manages to get these timing attacks off that cripple the Zerg. It's kind of spectacular. It's one of the things Rush has been doing a lot lately. A lot of Terrans have figured out TVZ, not necessarily in the style of play. You know, they're pretty much still doing the same orthodox builds that we expect them to do, but their understanding of critical timings and weaknesses in pressure points of the Zerg are just absolutely exceptional.
The rise of the Firebat has really changed this matchup a lot, by the way. Like, mixing those in and utilizing, you know, pressure going back and forth between the bases, drops, and D-Matrix as well as Irradiate, you can lean on the Zerg player so hard. Even when, like, traditionally, you would say, okay, the Zerg player is now safe. They've got Dark Swarm absolutely everywhere. They've got lurkers under the Dark Swarm and, you know, sunken colonies, and everything's set up properly. They can still break through by just leaning so heavily on that multitasking, and Sharp is one of the best in the business at doing that.
Yeah, I mean, just because you got a lurker on the Dark Swarm, you know, Firebats can still deal with that. If you've got a few lurkers out, maybe the D-Matrix comes down on a couple of Firebats and they can get splash damage on the stack of lurkers. Like, it's not that easy for Zerg to hold on. I think gone are the days where we considered Zergs immortal in that phase of the game. And I mean, Terrans also have the option of making dropships when all else fails. There's always a comeback mechanic in TVZ, no matter how dire it looks. And sometimes you can also just say, okay, the early game went bad for me, I'm just going to go tank push and try and hit you before defilers are even out. There's a lot of options for Terran to hit those timings to exploit Zerg, and it makes it much more of an interesting matchup. It's always been kind of like two glass cannons trying to shatter one another with how quickly the units die. But I think with the understanding that these players have developed under the years, it's become more and more compounded.
Yeah, it absolutely has. And I doubt that we're going to be seeing any mech play from Sharp today. I think sticking with Bio is going to be his way forward. He's just incredibly strong with that early game micro and the mid and late game transition with just masses of Bio, maybe a few tanks here and there, but full mech, I don't think we're going to see it. We'll have to wait and find out, though, guys. We're going to a short commercial break. We'll be right back after about 5 or so minutes. So, run to the bathroom, grab yourself a drink. We'll be right back. And just like that, we are back for Action versus Sharp losers match. And what do you know? Xun is going to be on Odyssey. That should be a blast.
Yeah, finally getting a bit of them spicy maps into the mix, and Odyssey definitely the spicier out of the two compared to Colorless Fate. With those stacked mineral patches, we could have fireworks. Luckily, there's no risk of a really quick DT rush build that we saw from Shuttle versus Rush. That was insane. What a double bluff. See what we've got between these two gamers. I'm imagining this one's going to be a banger.
I thought I was going to go straight to the announcement card. Okay, there we go.
Here we go, guys. The round of 24 Group B losers match, Action versus Sharp on Odyssey.
Action spawning over here in the top right-hand corner. We got Sharp in the bottom left on Odyssey.
Sounded like you said Shin. I just heard like the Shin on the Action.
Okay, maybe my voice didn't come through all the way there, but I definitely said Action.
I was like, damn, I'm not playing. What's going on here?
Think you could take on Sharp on Odyssey?
God, no. Are you kidding? He would, like, wax my legs and use me as a surfboard.
If you're lucky.
If I'm lucky.
Let's see. Looks like we're gonna have a 9 pool or 9 hatchery, excuse me, as usual. This is a really common build. No.
Whoa,
Hatch?
whoa,
Wait,
whoa.
Hatch and mate?
We haven't seen that. We've seen 9 hatch in natural. We've not seen 9 hatch in main. This is something different from Action.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm not sure what this is.
We haven't seen this before, guys. We don't know.
I really don't know what to say about this one.
I mean,
I feel like this is going to be something
is
wild.
He gonna Hydra bust? Is this a Hydra bust build?
I'm not sure, man. This is something completely all in, I feel like.
This is either gonna... Yeah. I mean, it's got to be a Ling Flood or something like a Hydra build, I think.
That's what it's looking like to me. Probably a Hydra build. He's gonna come down and take the third now. Or excuse me, the natural now as his third hatchery. Yeah, but already completely out there. Sharp has opened with a 1-Rax fast expand. Really common on this map. You can get the CC out so quickly. You just have so much income coming in. I guess this is going to be
Ling speed.
a few lings.
Yeah, I think he took Ling speed. I haven't got shot on the lair, if it is a lair. I think it's, yeah, it is Ling speed. This is different, man. We've not seen this before. Yeah. We don't quite know what to expect. I mean, Sharp's got a wall and he's going to be getting the lair after the fact. This is definitely an interesting optimization on this map. Oh, it's a fake out! He cancels the lair! There's the Hydra Den! Okay, I knew it! I knew I should trust my instincts.
Insane. We're going to see a Hydra all-in from Action. Factory is on the way. Academy as well. Sharp, he's going to be completely blindsided by this, I feel. Like, he probably as confused as we are right now by what he's seen in the main.
Because he doesn't know when that lair started, so that could have been the first 100 gas that he saw. Once he sees the Lings have speed, that's gonna mess with his brain a little bit. Like, hang on, Ling speed's done now, which means the lair was delayed. Are you doing some kind of lurker build or a delayed spire build? It's gonna really throw off his understanding of what could be happening. If he is really smart, once he sees the Ling speed, he might be able to put the puzzle pieces together. Like, okay, it was Ling speed into lair, might have been a fake out lair into Hydra bust. It's theoretically possible that he could figure that out, but it's very difficult while you're in the game playing.
Action lost to Shine, but he's playing like him right now. He's definitely going for a crazy build that no one's ever seen before. And pulling it out at the most critical moment here in the losers match, his tournament life on the line. He's going for this Hydra bust, and Sharp is just not going to be ready, man. He is going to have bio, which Hydras are not very good against bio at all.
It depends. With target fire in low numbers, Hydras are actually pretty good at picking them off.
Scan.
Okay, well, he knows now.
Scan. He can start building bunkers.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
But the wall is
scared for
exposed.
action now.
I'm a little bit scared. I think he can still do this, but if the both bunkers finish and you surround it with SCVs, it's a little bit tricky for Zerg. But if he can get in there just as the bunkers are about to finish, start targeting down these Marines, it's possible for action, but it looks like the bunkers are going to finish in time.
So all he gets for this play is a couple of kills on these supply depots. Not a full pull from Sharp to surround the bunker. He wants to get a little bit of income rolling here, but he might regret that. Definitely want to have a bit of a surround on this. He's actually throwing down another bunker, going for a fourth bunker.
So many links
in the mineral line, and Action's about to pull the trigger. Sharp's not moving these SCVs. He's got about 3 per bunker. I think he should be able to hold. He's going to stim and jump in the moment that Action goes for this.
Yeah, fourth bunker finished up as well. Here we go. Pulling the trigger is Action, targeting down that first bunker. Lynx wrapping around on the bunker to the north. Now targeting the bunker on the bottom with the Hydras. Pops it like a zit. Lynx got pretty good surface area on that top bunker. Is going to finish off. Just one bunker remaining for Action. He is doing it, saying he has breached the line of the Terran player. Sharp in absolute disarray right now. Trying to body block on the ramp with some SCVs in conjunction with that medic. I don't think it's gonna be good enough. The Zerg just rampaging forward into the main base. So many links streaming across the map. Action has done it. Sharp has been eliminated from the round of 24. Whoa.
No way. I guess that's just way more units than he would have expected. Like, it is a crazy map with those fastest mineral patches. You're just pumping out so many more units. He had the hatchery down on 9 in the main base, so he had so much larva to work with. It was a nice mind game from Action. Totally scouted at the beginning of that play, though. Like, Sharp knew what was coming, but didn't have enough SCVs ready. That first layer of bunkers just died way too quick. The surround wasn't good enough.
Yeah, and honestly, he probably should have had more SCVs on standby for the bunker, but he doesn't know for sure. Like, Action could have been like super tricky and be actually like expanding at that point and just playing like a really delayed layer style. He doesn't know for sure that that's a total all-in. He can be reasonably sure, but he only saw a few Hydras at the front. It's kind of like when you're, you know, fake Hydra rushing in ZVP. Like, you want to make some cannons, but you don't want to over make cannons either. And he thought, okay, I'll just make a few additional bunkers and that'll be enough. But he's probably never faced off against that build on that map, and that's a very rare Zerg build to go for on any map. But yeah, seems like Action prepared very well here today and caught Sharp with his pants down.
All right, guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, 6 minutes, and we'll be right back with our final match, Action versus Shinee. The final match of the night is going to take place on that new map. Oh, wait, what is it here? I can't read that, Xun.
I don't
Action
read
versus
Korean.
Shinee.
It could be Backrooms
I'm really
or
curious to see
Alios.
which map.
I'm not sure.
I'm really curious because I think that Action's going to try and pull something sneaky out again.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see what map they'll actually be playing on. Currently, Shinee probably overjoyed, like his t-shirt says, about his performance here today. Even if he does finally go down to Action, he's put on a hell of a show for us. It's going to be Octagon, okay. Pretty standard map, and honestly, can be tricky for Zergs to get additional gas expansions online. This might help Shinee out a little bit here, but they have made changes, so you can't proxy in the center. Let's get it started though, guys. The ASL Season 22, Round of 24, Group B, final match, Action versus Shinee on Octagon.
Action spawning over here in the top right. We got Shinee in the bottom right. Octagon. Map statistics are looking pretty darn even in Pro League. Terran has a 52.8% win rate.
Yeah.
With only one game being played here in the final match of the round of 24. Anything can happen, Xun. It's been a blast so far.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when the map first came out, Zergs were having a harder time on Octagon. It's probably, you know, been figured out a lot more by the Zergs since then. There's been a few changes to the map, so the center is no longer completely buildable, making proxy racks is a little bit harder to pull off. You can still make buildings in the very center of that Octagon, but not a very big building placement area, so easy to identify with a cross-map drone scout. It's like going to be a wall in here from Shinee. No 8 racks this time around, and a very quick drone scout from Action. This is like a 9 scout timing, checking the center of the map, really anticipating some shenanigans from Shinee.
It's kind of a free win if you end up seeing an SCV here.
Oh yeah,
building a barracks, so
for sure.
I understand it.
Oh, he scouts the correct direction as well. That's actually huge, right?
Oh, nice.
Because he can harass the SCV building. That gives you compensation. Because you're losing a lot of minerals from the early drone scout, forcing them to pull SCVs off the line to defend this harassing drone does compensate you for your investment a little bit.
Some really good control so far. Shinee able to get a few hits back onto the drone, so pushing it away. Action, a little bit of a mistake with the drone at the natural, sends it out too far. We'll send it back, but loses out on a few seconds of building time, so focusing a bit too much maybe on this forward drone. Possible nerves here from Action, because you really shouldn't be messing this up with 500 APM.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of that is just too much spammy. A lot of players are too overly invested in their APM spam at the start of the games. Myself guilty as charged as well. It is what it is. But there's players like Effort where they actually start slower with their spam than they actually end up playing. So that's always funny to see, where he's like playing at almost a 500 APM level for the entire game. SCV scout now inside the main base of Action. Sees there's no gas. This is going to be a very fast third hatchery on location in the top left natural. This is super greedy from Action. Will Shinee be able to put together a punish?
So with this build and how it's lining up against Shinee, I think we're going to probably see a 2 racks play out of him.
Yeah, maybe.
You can put a lot of pressure onto that third base and force quite a few sunken colonies at that location. It's not a high ground, so you'll have to build 3 sunken colonies most likely.
Oh, triple.
Oh,
triple, baby. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if Action doesn't identify this, if he doesn't realize how many Marines are being produced, he could get fully overwhelmed with just barely not enough sunken colonies at the right moment.
Yeah, he is going to delay his own gas heavily by doing this, so his range will be finishing up super late to deal with the Mutalisk phase of the game, but it doesn't matter because he knows he's up against a 3 hatchery style. Everything's kind of pushed back by almost a minute tech tree wise, so you can afford to have a delayed gas in these situations for Terran. That's kind of the disadvantage of going 3 hatchery before gas as Zerg. You're giving the driver's seat to the Terran. They're no longer as rigid with their build order choices as they are usually, and you kind of have the world as your oyster. Like, he could translate this into a 5 racks plus 1, for example. He can kind of do whatever he wants.
He finds the tree in the top left and identifies his target. I think he'll probably be sending that first bio ball over towards the top left. The main thing is to not allow action to slip by any lings into the main and identify what's going on, because he wants him to underestimate the amount of bio that's coming and then just get washed over by that initial bust and break him before the mutas ever come out and have a chance to start fighting. So all of this relies on a bit of deception, but I really like the adaptation from Shinee after identifying the build here from Action. It is a very not very well utilized build. Like, not many people are doing this quick third base before gas any longer. Well,
Saiyan, one thing I would like to ask you is, do you think that Action is going to try and translate this into a crazy Zerg build? Like, he could throw down an Evo and a Queen's Nest not long after this Spire is on the way, and Action in the past has been one of the better Crazy Zerg users, and on this map, Crazy Zerg's not the best, but if you get a quick third base on location like this and have a free 4th gas that you can expand back into after setting up the sunken lines, I could see something like a Crazy Zerg working out, should he be able to hold off the initial timing attack pressure of Shinee.
I think it's possible, but the game is probably going to come down to this attack. If he makes 4 sunken colonies at the natural and the top left, he'll probably survive. He starts 5. That's just how seriously he's taking it. He only has 1 finished at the top left, though. Oh my gosh, this is probably not going to work out for Action. He starts the 4th, and he's going to start the 5th as well, but the Marines are almost here, buying as much time as he can with these lings. He's actually forcing critical turnarounds at the last moment. Shinee is going to go back, actually, and Action able to cancel one of those sunkens in top left, so he's not going to fully commit.
I mean, Shinee doesn't have complete information. He doesn't know how many lings are out. I can kind of understand the turnaround, but I think there's a little bit of nerves getting the better of him. Just wanting to reconsolidate his bio with more reinforcements before pushing out into the map. That's going to give a lot of breathing room to Action. He did force a total of 8 sunkens out of Action, so does do a big dent into the Zerg's economy as a result. And he has a bigger bio now, and it will take a long time before Action has a critical count of those Mutalisks to combat this Bioforce. He can also just keep adding on sunken colonies as he needs to deal with this threat. As you can see, throwing down a 5th one now. This is a pretty strong bio threat and doesn't have a huge count of those Mutalisks right now. This could be a bust timing for Shinee. He pre-stims, shoves forward, not that many Mutalisks to fight at all. And only 4 sunkens finished up with good target frying. Shinee could break through here, Saiyan.
Oh my gosh, he's just gonna smash this defense. Not enough sunken colonies done in time for Action. He undermade defenses here, and GG is called. Shinee will continue on to the round of 16, breaking through in his first ever ASL appearance.
Wow, he's done it. I mean, this is essentially Royal Road territory debuting in there. So look at the shakiness and the emotion surging through him right there. Unable to control his excitement after that. He's been the #1 ranked player for so long. He just hasn't shown up to these offline tournaments. Absolutely demolishing Action like you were anticipating earlier, saying having to throw down sunkens at both locations, stretching his economy too thin to handle the timing attack there of Shinee. If he had maybe 6 sunkens, he can barely hold that. With 4, it's impossible. Oh my days. Like, what can you even say about this guy? He's an absolute Chad nerd gamer. that's put on display, on stage, controlled his nerves, and shown us what he can do in such a spectacular fashion, taken down Sharp and Action in the final match. Well deserving of that round of 16 placement.
I mean, just a great adjustment from Shinee there, adding on that extra barracks. There's no way for for Action to know that push was going to be that strong. He had to identify it only through scouting with the Lings, and wasn't able to figure out exactly what was coming and prepare accordingly. And so Shinee will advance. This guy absolutely surprising everyone, and doing something that very few players can make happen, going through the ASL round of 24 on his first ever attempt. Massive respect.
Yeah, I mean, also remember, he's only tried qualifying twice. He tried last season, he tried this season, made it in on his second try, got through to the round of 16 on his first try. That is almost unheard of. Like, hardly any players are able to do that. You saw what happened to HM in Group A. You have to give a lot of respect to this guy here today. That's absolutely insane. And who knows, we could have a situation where this guy could theoretically break through into the round of 8. I don't think it's likely. It's certainly possible, though.
I think that was Mind in the front row, sitting next to the gamer. Oh, there he is on screen again. Mind covering his face. We know who you are. He's still a fan of this game, of course, showing up here to support and to watch some excellent games. This is maybe a highlight of the round of 24. We've still got a lot of days left to go. We've still got Group C tomorrow, but this is a one for the history books, man. This is an absolute banger.
Oh yeah, I'm so blown away by these first two groups, Saiyan. I mean, it's just been non-stop insanity and hard to predict. Like, yesterday was crazy with Shuttle going out first and upsetting things, and Bisu being knocked out. What can you even say, man? Like, it's just been such a roller coaster, and just 2 groups out of 6. So much craziness has occurred already. This might be such an epic season of ASL. I think there's going to be a lot of guys that, you know, play those games where they like make ASL predictions and you get points like based on how well you predict things. I think just about everyone is tanking their points right now. There's no one that's calling these games.
Yeah, this is peak StarCraft, guys, and we've got Group C tomorrow. Best, Paralyzed, Jaedong, and Speed. It's our first real group of death, but it's felt like groups of death so far, Group A and Group B. What kind of madness are we going to get from that Group C?
I'm not even going to predict what I think's going to happen, Saiyan, but it is interesting that we do have Paralyze. Paralyze, one of these up-and-coming Protoss players. I think the best Protoss out of all of the lower-ranked Protoss guys you don't usually get to see a whole bunch of. Very strong defensively as well, it has to be said. I don't think this group is going to be easy for him, but with how this Group A and Group B has gone, I think he has a real shot.
I mean, yeah, everybody has a shot in the round of 24. There's so many upsets, so many intriguing games. Paralyze might just be able to blast his way through. That's one of the big advantages of placing top 4 in the previous season, is that you don't have to play in the round of 24 because it is just so volatile, and you can easily end up getting eliminated, as both Shine and Action, or excuse me, both Sharp and Action have learned. Just what an incredible result here from Group B. It's so hard to predict what's going to happen tomorrow, but I'm really hoping that you guys will show up again to watch us here live on Soup Live. It's going to be linked in the description, of course, in the video, and I hope you guys will support us as well on Patreon.
So the way I'm going to predict it, I don't necessarily think this is what's going to happen, but just to be fun, I'm going to make a hopeful prediction in Paralyze's favor. So Paralyze beats Best, Jaedong beats Speed, Paralyze loses to Jaedong in the winner's match, and then is in a final match and a rematch against Best, and he beats Best twice in the group to go out and join the round of 16. I'm going to make that prediction. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen, but just to be fun, I'm going to say that's what's happening.
That'd be incredible. A lot of Paralyzed games in that case. A lot of Best games as well. I'm such a big fan of Best, but I don't think he is at the top of his game right now.
Right.
It's so hard to say what will end up happening. It's better not to even predict because you know you're going to get laughed at in the comments later. It happens to me on every one of my prediction videos. People will come back like a month later and say like, look how that turned out. It's like, oh my God, the round of 24 is so crazy, guys. You've seen it here with your own eyes. It's impossible to predict. But it's so much fun to watch and cast.
It is so much fun. I like it. I think I've said to you many times in the past and to the cast, like, I actually like being wrong about predictions. You know, the unexpected makes things more exciting, and you never quite know what's coming around the corner. You know, looking at those group stages, you'd probably say, yeah, Best and Jaedong, probably favorite to get out of there, but Best and Speed have not been playing to their usual standard, so I think that group is completely exposed to upsets. I think it's very possible we'll see Jaedong and Paralyze into the round of 16. Who knows? Maybe Jaedong even underperforms and he gets eliminated. We've seen crazy things happen with Bisu being eliminated in Group A. Anything can happen here in the ASL, guys. I hope you are tuning in tomorrow to enjoy some more great StarCraft action. It's already been such a great season and only 2 groups have been played.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow at the same time, noon Central European Standard Time. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you there.
Thanks, guys.